Your dream life will not fall into your lap. I'm so serious. I feel like this mindset has completely changed me. You can go from 0 to 100. You can live your dream life just by believing the decisions that you've made thus far have gotten you to where you are now. And if you are not content with that, then you have to get better at making decisions. Welcome to your new life. If you are anything like me, this video is going to liberate you. This is the video you needed to finally be yourself. I'm so serious. I feel like this mindset has completely changed me, and I really feel like it's due to this one reason that I'm gonna break down for you today. So buckle up. Let's get comfortable. While I sit down, you go ahead and subscribe. Those of us with potential to do something great are carrying a huge weight on our back. And a lot of times I feel like we're brought down and we're brought to dim our light because it feels so unrealistic. It feels so random. It feels so risky. And then you're thinking like, there's no reason for me to blow up my life to create this life that seems completely unattainable to what I experienced today. You're looking at everybody else who's working a desk job, getting married, having kids, settling down, and you're like, this is the path that I know. This is what I see. I know how to do this. There's a blueprint for that, but there is no roadmap for the life that I want. I don't even know if this is a job yet. I've never seen anyone do this yet. And the people who do it, they must have something. They must have money. They must have mentors. They must have something. And I'm about to tell you the secret that you've been looking for, the thing that you think you're going to find on your late night scrolls, the thing that you think is going to fall into your lap. It will not. Your dream life will not fall into your lap. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. Your dream life will not fall into your lap. There's a reason you feel like the life you want is unconventional. You feel like it's risky, it's unsafe. It's because in some aspect it is. It's not something you see every day. It's not predictable. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable to go after it. Hence why a lot of people don't go after their dream life or what they want, because it's uncomfortable. It is hard. I feel really grateful that I learned pretty early in my professional career. There's not going to be some letter that comes out of the sky with your roadmap, your destiny, your blueprint, and no one is going to tell me, Iffy, go pursue your dreams, do what's important to you, make an impact on this world, go out of your way and tell people a message, build a company, be a YouTuber. Like, I need your video done at like 8 a.m. on Saturday morning. Like, no one is going to come to me and tell me that. And the secret that everyone is missing and that we keep waiting for is that there will never be a practical, solid, logical, safe answer and reason for you to go after your dreams. The trick is you have to do it for no reason. You have to do it when it feels silly, when it feels awkward, when it feels cringy, when you don't know anything, because your destiny, the purpose, the impact will reveal itself while you are in action. It does not happen in the reverse. You cannot think it into existence. You have to act it into existence. You know this concept already. This is fake it till you make it. This is become the person by being the person. The point is you have to take action, and it requires a lot of trust. But on that path, you will find literally everything you've been looking for. I've done this before. I am currently in this process. And while you're on this path, while you're on this journey, you're going to start to see these silly, trivial, no reason things that you're doing are actually for a reason, but they only connect and make sense in hindsight. They won't make sense while you're doing it, but how you know that this is something you're supposed to do, or how you know it's something you're supposed to pursue, is even though it feels so silly and random and like you're doing something for no reason, it makes sense for your soul. There's like there's a million reasons why this fuels your soul. I've experienced this in many levels of my life, and I feel like for the second time in my life, it's happening again, and I'm like, okay, I have to talk about this. I'm not a researcher. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not a trust fund baby. I am just someone with a dream and an undeniable determination to get to the life that I've always envisioned and feel like is meant for me. And on this process, I want to show what that's actually like, going after your dream life. As somebody who is doing this from zero, trying to prove a point that honestly I felt my whole life, that you can go from 0 to 100. You can live your dream life just by believing and just by taking small action towards it. But it's not easy, and that's why I feel like breaking these things down and talking about them will give us a space to learn how, no matter what kind of life you dream of. I believe that everybody can get to theirs. They just need to listen to themselves. And I am planning on doing a dream life series, just breaking down what I've been through and how I believe other people can get to this. This very topic and this very reason is the reason I decided to pursue my very first brand, Sans Raison. As you can see on my sweatshirt, it reads without reason in French. I went on a life-changing trip that I documented and posted here on YouTube. YouTube, and this trip really taught me that the best things in my life, the most magical, amazing experiences that I've ever experienced or have gone through in my life were because I pursued what was deep down inside me for no reason and just followed my passions, not knowing exactly how it would look like, not knowing the outcome, but just believing that this was good for me and felt aligned with me. I went on that trip with no money, so much confusion about my career and the life I was gonna have after I had left freelance and 6 figures, but I knew I was meant to do something on my own, start my own company, and I knew the life that I envisioned for myself required me to be an entrepreneur, to work for myself, and it didn't have clients and all this work that wasn't important to me in it. It had things that were meaningful to me, and I truly believe that this is the beginning of an entire new life and an entire new process. So if you want to keep up with more tips, motivation, and the push to keep going after your dream life, I highly recommend following Sans Croissant on Instagram and through our newsletter. Originally, this sweatshirt just started because I wanted to have something to remember and commemorate the trip, and this is what created our very first product. If you want a Sans Croissant sweatshirt, it's going to be going on pre-sale very, very soon. Okay, so first things first, I want to talk about some dream life principles. These are beliefs and mindsets that I've taken on over the past few years that primed me for taking the leap, taking the risk, going after it. And I feel like you can't really enter this new version of you, this new era, without understanding these concepts. Okay, number one, which if you listen to the beginning of this video or if you watch my last video about feeling empty inside, you know that things will not fall into your lap. You have to internalize this and understand this. Trust me, I say this out of love. You actually have more power when you understand that you can take action. You can create the reality you're looking for instead of waiting for someone or something to give it to you on a silver platter. You won't have the roadmap with the exact details of what you're supposed to do, what job you're supposed to take, who you're supposed to talk to, what place you're supposed to be at the right time. That kind of stuff only happens. These perfect scenarios only happen when you're following what feels aligned to you. Accurate roadmaps, guides only exist in hindsight. There's a quote from Rick Rubin that I really love. The work reveals itself as you go. My friend Paige sent this to me. She has a YouTube channel, check her out. She makes apparel as well. It reminds me of this idea that I really love, that purpose, meaning, all of these things reveal itself and unfold on your journey. It's not the other way around. The second dream life principle is to trust in your dream life, trust in your vision. This is your new blueprint. Let me tell you, we have been using the wrong blueprint. We really have. We've been using society's blueprint when really that can only be made for a certain amount of people. There's no way we're all supposed to be working desk jobs. We're all supposed to be happy being engineers or associates or operation managers. There's no way that can fulfill and really be everyone's self-actualization. Like, there's just no way. We are little niches walking around. Like, we are made up of different interests, curiosities, skills. We have to find our own path to bring all of those things to life. There's nothing that's a part of you that is a waste. It's your job, though, to maximize everything that you bring to the table into something that you enjoy, because this is your life. If you feel this different calling and you feel like you're meant to be traveling, you feel like you're meant to be living in different places, learning different languages, creating art, making music, it doesn't mean that you're crazy. It doesn't mean that you're weird. It just means that you're gonna have to do a little bit more work and trying to find a life that works for you, because living someone else's life is not gonna make the life that you're destined for any easier to suppress. I will admit, it's hard to go after a blueprint you've never seen. It's hard to go after a roadmap to a lifestyle you've never witnessed, have no instructions on, and no one else has lived, because all of our dream lives are completely unique to us. Even if we have similar things in our dream life, how I'm gonna achieve it and how you're gonna achieve it is gonna be completely different. So technically, no one's dream life has been paved out before. We have to pave it. And when you observe successful people or people who claim to be living their dream life, they had to do something that people aren't willing to do. Be uncomfortable, be uncertain, and do it for a long period of time. This is where you double down. This is where your Delulu starts to become the Salulu. If you haven't watched my video about how to be Delulu, please watch that. It's very similar to this vibe, but you have to block out the noise and choose a new destination. Take on a new persona, be a different person. This is gonna require you to change your life. The faster you accept it, the better your life will be. My third principle for this dream life is get good at listening to the signs. This is what's going to guide you when you feel like you have no guidance. And how you listen to the signs, you have to block out the world, because the world is doing what the world does. You've already seen that. And if you don't like what you see, then you're gonna need to try something new. It's okay to not know exactly where you want to go, but it's not okay to do something you know you shouldn't, or you know that's not for you. When I left corporate, I knew that this wasn't for me. And before I left, I was fighting like, oh my God, why can everyone else do it and I can't do it? Why is everyone else so good at being a slave to their manager and kissing ass and spending their entire life here in the office when I can't do that? Why am I so weird? And Instead of questioning why I'm so weird, I should have seen the opportunity, and I eventually did see the opportunity, that there's a reason I feel this way. There's a reason I can't do what everyone else is doing, because maybe I'm meant for something else. Those are the little signs that come to you, and it's up to you to listen to them. I was always nervous, I was always anxious, I wasn't taking care of myself. These are signs that I'm not being true to who I am. It's telling you something about who you are. Our job is just to listen. And my fourth principle is, it's simple but complex. Living a conventional life seems easy at first. It's easier to follow the rules, but over a long period of time, in the long run, it's harder to be who you are. But when you follow your dream life, it's harder in the beginning. It's confusing, it's rocky, it's murky, but eventually, and honestly, compared to your whole life, it's probably a short period of time, eventually it's easier to be who you are. It's easier to live life because you're so used to navigating the unfamiliar and the uncertain. There are little things that are completely uncertainty. Because I left my job and tripled my income all on my own, without experience in marketing, without knowing anyone and having a network, I felt brave enough when I was in freelance to quit and start all over as an entrepreneur. Everything stacks up and leads to each other. And it's really just a process of trial and error. And I think this is another thing, the more you accept this and realize this, you start to see these as opportunities and ways to have fun, ways to practice, and you stop seeing it as, I have to be perfect and get to this destination as fast as I can because I can't be uncomfortable, I'm terrified of this. Yes, you will probably feel terrified, you probably feel down, you'll probably feel up and all over the place on this journey, but understanding that this is just practice, because the older you get and the closer you get to your dream life, you're just learning what is you and what isn't you. And I honestly feel that's what successful people have in common. They're really good at judging what is aligned with them and what is not aligned with them, and that's how they make decisions. And their decisions make them successful. The decisions that you've made thus far have gotten you to where you are now, and if you are not content with that, then you have to get better at making decisions. But don't get me wrong, this will reward you. You will start to feel more like yourself if you do this. So, oh my God, Ify, you're telling me all this information, great, but like, how do I get there? How do I know where to go? Where do I even begin? I'm gonna tell you, sister, it's okay. Trust me, I am the most impatient person I know, and I am going through this process and I'm finding joy in it, so I believe you can too. You don't need to look outside of yourself for the answers or find them. You already have them. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever considered that your desires, what you like, what you're into, was not an accident? Think about this. There are millions of things that you could be into. You could be into grunge music. You could be into animals, astrology, to science, to art. Why is it that you go towards some of these things, and why is it that you go away from some of these things? I don't think that's a coincidence. I don't think you're just into things for no reason. There are things that light you up, obviously, and there are things that obviously turn you off. And I think that's because they are all connected together. Your interests, your skills, your curiosities, it's all some big system that I don't even fully understand yet. But when I think about my experience, I had always been into talking, communicating, taking pictures, doing video, writing. There was times I like won awards when I was little for writing like papers, and I would always get compliments about that. I'd always get compliments on how I take pictures or how I organize things. All of these skills that I was doing, mind you, before influencing and content creation was a thing, are things that have led up to all of the careers that I've had today. Even though I spent a whole majority of my high school years and college years ignoring my passions, I would always find myself doing them on the weekends with my friends after school. I was always binging content. I was always looking at creators. I was always trying to create my own photos. I had a whole Instagram era that I have a video about. I was always trying to get into it without getting into it. I loved marketing. I love branding. I love business. These are things that I tried to ignore. That when I quit my corporate job, I knew exactly what I was supposed to do. I didn't know exactly how it would look. I didn't know I was going to get into freelance. I had never really heard of freelance, to be honest. I just knew that that was a lot closer than doing some boring analytics job that I was doing in a company full of people that just didn't inspire me. There is something that you spend your nights scrolling about, searching up on YouTube, on Google, things that when you see other people, you are like, that is amazing. I don't even know why I like this, but that is so cool. I want to be that person. Those are signs. Who you're envious of, who you're jealous of, those are signs. And if you really think about it, it's not those individual interests that are like, oh my God, that's my job. That's one thing you should not do. Just look at something just because you like it, try to make it a career. Don't try to make it a career. This is why creating your dream life is difficult. You take pieces of things and put it into the dream life. At the time, I said, okay, I don't know if I'm supposed to be in analytics or be a consultant, but I definitely know I like marketing. Let me try all the different kinds of marketing that I can and see which area that really resonates with me. I tried blogging and being a writer. I tried doing Instagram for people. I tried doing photography. I tried doing video. I was even taking Adobe classes at one point. All of those individual attempts and everything led me to getting a great career in freelance and knowing how to do a lot of different skills and everything, which again showed me that I'm capable of running a business, which is what I'm doing now. You already have the compass. You just need to follow it, even when things don't make sense, even if it feels like you're going after it for no reason. It's almost as if you only get to unlock certain levels when you take action, when you complete the round. You don't have to know exactly where it's going. You just have to notice it and practice what feels good, move away from what doesn't feel good. It's been a minute since you've been allowed to dream, explore, think, brainstorm. We're not used to doing that with our own life. We're used to giving that energy to other people, our employers, our friends, our families, people around us, but we're not used to putting that into our life and what we want. Go in with little expectation. Pretend you are a child. Like how you come up with such certainty and confidence when you're a child. Like, I'm gonna be a firefighter. I'm gonna be a musician. I'm gonna be a model. All of these crazy, outlandish jobs that children say they want. There's a reason why they say it, and they just don't know it yet. They have to basically live life, accumulate trauma, unlearn the trauma, and come back to everything they said they already knew they wanted to do. And this is you right now. You are unlearning all of the societal expectations, all of the mistakes, all of the things that don't feel like you, and coming back to who you already are. When children play, there is no mistakes. There is just unexpected changes in direction. They are just exploring. They are just living and learning and having a good time while they're doing it. And you have to take on this persona, as silly as it sounds. I know, Ify, I have bills. I can't sit around and play around. I would love to not think about money. I would love to sit around and think about my dream life and brainstorm my dream day, but I can't. I have this, I have X, Y, and Z. And to that I say, sure. If you want to believe that that is the case, you know how your life will look like. But if you're ready for a new step, a change in your life, the thing you've always wanted, it's going to require you to do things that are unheard of, things you've never done before, and things that feel uncomfortable. Trust me, I had the same things. I had the same bills, I had the same worries, I had the same doubts, and I had the same disbelief up until a point where I couldn't take it anymore. I was basically forced into my dream life because I was so burnt out from the work that I was doing, from ignoring and suppressing myself so much that I physically could not go on anymore. I could have kept suppressing what I wanted, but I saw a way out. Sometimes there's not going to be a push from the universe. There's not going to be a push from someone. You have to initiate that push, which is why I feel like the second time around, I took the leap at my best opportunity. I was let go from my client that was paying me the big bucks unexpectedly. And I was like, I'm not going to be a fool anymore. I know this is a sign because I've always wanted to do something more creative. I've always wanted to have my own business. I'm going to take this as a sign to follow my dreams yet again. It's a continual process. It doesn't stop, but it does get easier and it gets more clear the more you go towards it. This is something I truly believe can change every aspect of your life. When I decided to say no to the outside world repeatedly, because you're gonna have the people that trickle up and say, hey, do you want to work for me? Or hey, do you want to come back to this life? Or hey, this makes more sense, maybe you should give it a try. You're gonna have temptation, and that is what you have to actively resist. If you are going to tell the universe or whatever you believe, I'm showing up as this new person, they're not gonna believe you if you keep giving in to the old way of life, which you've already seen and you don't like. Hey, don't shoot the messenger. I actively had to say no to those things because that's not what I wanted. When I left my freelance client, that I'm only going in the direction that feels like me, 100% of me. I am creative, I am free, I get my 2-hour morning routine, I get to work with people I find inspiring and fascinating, interesting. I make a lot of money and I don't have to work super hard for it. I get to express what's natural to me and that's valuable to people. I had to change my beliefs on what I wanted in my life and what I didn't want. Although I am still waiting on the outside success to come into my life. Internally, I feel whole. For me, having my time and freedom, because freedom is my #1 value. If you haven't taken a values test, I highly recommend you take a values test. This is what helps you say yes and no very quickly to what comes into your life. I know that freedom is my #1 value. So I don't care if I have all the money in the world. If I don't have my time to myself, I will feel broke. I now wake up every single day knowing that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do and having my entire morning to myself, getting to edit and work on videos that I find interesting, that help people. I write blogs, I write newsletters, I'm creating a freaking brand, I'm getting ideas, I'm talking to people that I find really cool, I'm making new friends. I get to exercise every part of me. I get to learn more about marketing, I get to learn more about business, I get to exercise my communication. And funny enough, when I decided to take another leap and invest myself into this brand, I was starting to realize how this little idea that I was just gonna do for fun that turned into a business was unlocking even more parts of myself that I didn't even realize that needed to come out. I had always loved branding. I had always wanted to build a company. My ultimate dream is to have multiple companies that really specialize in luxury and just feeling good, being yourself, and living a dream life. I didn't realize that this silly little idea could be the seed for all of those things. I was waiting for something to show me that I can create these companies that I dream of later, when in reality I had seeds already here for me to follow. And honestly, none of that occurred to me until I was physically starting this company. You have to show up as who you are. When you show up as who you are, other people will notice. You will start to attract opportunities that are similar. But if you're showing up as someone else, you're gonna attract opportunities for someone else and therefore feel like nothing ever comes your way. It's because you're going after the wrong life. You have to go after yours. I think it changes you inside out. When you start focusing on what's internal to you, you will be forced to change things externally that do not fit. I am adjusting my entire life and I'm slowly becoming the version of myself that I thought would take years to implement. So friends, I've boiled down this dream life process to 3 steps that I feel like happen on a macro and micro level and continue to happen. And I really feel like this could be the key for people to achieve their dream life. It's eliminate, explore, and exploit or commit. These are the 3 steps that I continue to use to get closer to my dream life. And it's basically shedding things that don't fit, exploring new ideas, parts of myself that I can utilize into my dream life, and then committing or exploiting what you feel is meant for you in this time, in this moment. I have put it together all in a nice ebook that I will be releasing very soon. It's gonna be free for a limited time. And don't worry, if you're a viewer, if you like visuals, I'm going to create a dream life series all about these 3 steps. My dream is to see everybody just thriving, being their best selves, living their best lives, have so much access. I really feel like there should be no reason that all of us can't get to where we want to get. If you're interested in joining the song community or learning more, be sure to follow us on Instagram, sign up for the newsletter. I'll put everything in the description below. So stay tuned and I can't wait to see you next week.